Let's start. Amazing, good. We are online. Today I needed you to be near the piano because most probably you were going to need it. Saying good. Yes, that's why. How are you dealing with the sun, Laura?
The blinds are shut as well. I don't know.
I see you with a reflection on the. Wow, that's bright. Let's see how we can handle this. Yes, if not, you can move, and then when I need you, yes, because you have a very annoying glare. Okay, there. So I understand. Yeah, you can move. You can you can move elsewhere. Yes. Okay, so today we're going to carry on with the circle of fifths, its relationship, and let's see if we can deal a little bit with modulations from neighbor keys. Yes, share the screen. Last time we were, there you go, bang. Okay, circle of fifths. Yeah. Now, this is the circle of fifths expresses to a certain extent the relationship of two keys, but not completely. Why is that? Well, let's go back. Yes. Now that everyone is an expert in circle of fifths, yes, full expertise, yes. Now we can start playing around with that. Yeah, it says the expression circle of fifths comes from the fact that the names of the keys were written down on a circle in such a way that the distance between equidistant adjacent points on the circumference corresponded to the distance of such closely related keys from one another. Those keynotes are a fifth apart, as we know. Yes, they go fifth up. Yes, clockwise, anti-clockwise. You have fifth apart as well, perfect fifths. Yes, 7 semitones. The keys follow one another then at the interval of a fifth. C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp. Yes, and so on and so forth. Until they come back again to the point of departure, which is the C. Yeah. Why? Because if when you switch, yes, in F sharp, G flat, you just go, yes, fifth, fifth, fifth until you finish on the C again. Yeah. So this return resembles the circumference of a circle, which also returns to its starting point. If we go around the circle of in one direction, C, G, D, A, etc., we have the circle of fifths. Also, or as I prefer to say, the circle of fifths upward, because it consists of a succession of fifths built over the point of departure. If we go in the opposite direction around the circle, we get C, F, B flat, E flat, anti-clockwise. Some call this the circle of fourths, but it makes little sense. Yes, because the system is everything's about fifths. So C to G is a fifth upward or a fourth downward, or C to F is a fifth up downward or a fourth upward. Therefore, I prefer to call this opposite direction the circle of fifths downward. Yeah, but they should be fifths because all the system is based on the perfect fifth, and you have an acoustic reason why. Yes, the perfect fifth is the third overtone from the fundamental note. Yes, the first note, second overtone, the octave, the third overtone is the fifth. Consequently, that interval is acoustically, yes, the most important. That's why it says the circle of fifths expresses to a certain extent the relationship of two keys, but not completely. Clearly, two keys that differ from one another by only one sharp or flat in the key signature can easily be more closely related than such as differ by 5 sharps or flats. Thus, B flat major and B flat major are more closely related to B flat major and A flat major. Why? Because B flat and E flat are just a fifth away, so they have 1 flat of difference. Yes, and B flat and A flat. B flat has 2 flats, and A flat major has how many flats? Raise of hands.
4.
Yes. Now, C major and D major should accordingly be more closely related to C major and A major or E major. C major is here, D major. C major, remember the clock. 12 o'clock, D major is 2 o'clock. A major is 3 o'clock, E major is 4 o'clock. Yes, for C to G or D, yes, is closely related to C and to D and G, that's A, E, or B, yeah, because of the amount of notes that are different, yeah, from one each other. That is not perfectly true, however, for the key signature is not the only circumstance that has bearing on the relationship. There are yet other considerations which will receive closer examination later. For example, C major is related to A major through A minor. Now, again, C major is related to A major, yes, 12 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock at some point in the music, yes. Remember that this is modulation. This is how to travel through the circle of fifths, how to find loopholes, yes. Okay, so you say, okay, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, very distant away. But if you go through A minor is a relative minor of C major, then C major to A major, C major to A minor, it's relative. Then you go to the parallel. Yes, parallel major. What's the difference between the relative major and the parallel major? Anyone knows? The relative scales that are, yes, they're relative to each other, related to each other, share the same notes, but not the same tonal center. That's why C major and A minor, and when I say A minor in a circle of fifths, please take into account that we're talking about the natural scale, not the harmonic, not the melodic, because harmonic and melodic consists in imitating, let's say, yes, in a very special moment, as we saw in the minor ones, yes, melodically, yeah, the major, we call second tetrachord of the scale. The first tetrachord, tetra, Georgios, 4. The first tetrachord, so you have C, D, E, F. That's the first tetrachord of C major scale. G, A, B, C, second tetrachord. 4 notes. 4 plus 4, 8. So, the second tetrachord, yes, if you're dealing with harmonic minor or melodic minor, it's because you're copying the second tetrachord, especially in the melodic minor, of the major scale. That's why if you have C minor melodic ascending, you have C, D, E flat, F. That is shared for everything. The first tetrachord always never changes. Second tetrachord changes. You have G, A, B, C. That's it. Well, G, A, B, C, natural. Yes. Is the same tetrachord of C major in C minor melodic. So, in a nutshell, whenever we say minor in the circle of fifths, is the natural minor, not the harmonic, not the melodic. Yeah? So, the relative scales, yes, when you say the relative minor, is because you share the same notes. You have C major, A minor, same notes. One starts on C, the other one starts on A. Okay? So you have the C major, A minor, natural. Okay? Difference is different tonal center, different tonic, same notes. Parallel is when you have the same tonic but different notes. C major, C minor. Yeah, C major, C minor, natural. That is the parallel minor. Yes, different notes, same tonal center. So when you start in C major. Yes. You go to A minor. Then it's very easy to go to A major because you have the dominant and then you just resolve on the major. Yeah. Now that in music doesn't say here, but in music is, maybe you know it, maybe you don't. Don't worry if you don't. But that's a very specific cadence with a very specific name. When you are in a minor and then you resolve in major. Bach uses a lot in his preludes, in his fugues, everything is minor, 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 minor. And at the end, he says, whoa, he resolved in major. Yeah? Do you know the name of that cadence, by any chance? Georgios, enlighten us.
Picardie.
Yes, exactly. Tierce de Picardie. Yes, sir. Yeah? Picardie, tierce de Picardie, Picarda, depends on the country. Yeah? Picardy, English, tierce de Picardie, French, Picarda, yeah, in Italian, okay? But sometimes even it has the French name. I don't know why. Yes, even in in English books. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's why, yes, you have to start imagining, and that's why it was so important you to have the circle of fifths like the palm of your hand. Yes, because it's not just about learning it by heart. It's trying to discover how to go from key to key. Yes, and as far, I mean, the further you go, the cleverer you have to become, let's say. Yes, like in this case, if you go in C major, maybe you're naturally, I mean, yes, you're very far apart. You're three, yes, fifths apart, and you have three accidental, so you don't have, basically you don't have any chords, yes, any neutral chords in between. Remember we talked about neutral chords. Neutral chords are the chords that belong to one scale and to another scale. Yes, for example, if you go C major, G major, yes, automatically you know that you have four chords, yes, that they are well, they have in common. Yeah. With D major you have two. With A major you don't have anything. But if you go from C major, A minor, very easy, relative minor, and then you resolve dominant, yes, of A, E major, resolution of A major, and there you go. Yes, very simple. So C major and D major, as we'll be saying. So, for example, C major is related to A major through A minor, and this relationship is stronger than that between C major and D major, actually. Yes, because there's no, I mean, yes, you could, but through E minor, yes, and E minor is kind of weird. That we'll see. As we will be seeing, well, we will see. Hence, we shall not use the circle of fifths exclusively for determine the degree of relationship. Yeah, so it's not because it's far apart in the circle of fifths, oh, they're very far apart. No. So to do so would amount to a value judgment. Rather, we shall use it far from measuring the distance as a device to help us remember better the means that were found appropriate for a particular case. So we should observe, for example, in our first circle of fifths that B major is what time on the circle of fifths? 5. Yes, I heard it. Yeah, I didn't hear it, but it said. So I got it. If not, you say it like this. Yes. Exactly. 5. How many accidentes do you have in B major, Laura?
5.
Yes. Also, if you do this, yes, it's fine. Huh? Very good. So B major and A flat major are 9/5 apart. It is. How many flats do we have in A flat? Yes. And what does it say? Why does it says if we reckon from A flat, sorry, B major and A flat major are 9/5 apart. Why 9? Why 9? Also, A flat major is what time is of the circle of fifths?
It's the 9. No, sorry. The 8.
Yes, very good. 8. So why does he say it's 9/5 apart?
I guess because of the minors relatives, maybe.
No, they're two majors actually. Look,
It's true.
B is 5 o'clock.
Because it's going the other way?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's going it's going clockwise, not anti-clockwise. Yes. That says that is if we reckon from A flat major or from B major in the opposite direction, circle of fifths downward, but they are only 3/5 apart. 5 to A flat. Yes. 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. If we go clockwise from B major or from A flat major by the circle of fifths downward. So those are the kind of relationships that he wants you to see. In general, we shall favor the shorter distance. Yes, this is the lovely circle of fifths. Yes. Choosing means for modulation. Yet often enough, we shall choose the seemingly longer way, which, as will be seen, is often the shortest. Yeah. So just to be sure that was understood, remember that we said there you go. C major, A major, going through A minor, 5 dominant, falling into the A major. And then the second example, we have the B major, 5 o'clock, and then the A flat major, 8 o'clock. Instead of going this way, he said, no, wait. If we are modulating, try to think it the shortest way. 3. Yeah? So it's not that automatic, let's say. So good? So far, so good? More or less? Yes? Now, this point is more easily discernible if we remember that, as I mentioned, the keys of the third circle are more closely related than those of the second. Can be found in the circle of fifths that F minor and F major are 3/5 apart, that F minor and D minor are also only 3/5 apart, but F minor and D major are 6/5 apart. Let's go over that. So he says, from minor to minor, I mean from C major, let's say, yes, or well, let's take the example of him. F major to F minor, 1, 2, 3, 5th apart. Yeah. So far, so good. From D major to D minor, there, 5th apart. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, which is the example that he says he's a 6 apart? He says F minor and D major are 6 apart. Okay. D major, F minor are 6 apart. Those are really far. Yes, quite far actually. Yeah. So for example, if you have let's say G minor, yes, and you want to go to E flat major, is really, really, really close. Yes. Maybe it's not very, it's very surprising. Yes. From G minor to E flat major. Yes. Or maybe from G minor to A flat. G minor to A flat major also is not, yes, is not very problematic, let's say. Yes. And one of the things that in general, yes, and I see it in degrees actually. I don't know if you feel the same, but I see the relationship between the scales in degrees. Parallel majors and minors are always 90 degrees. Yes, this is 90. G minor, G major, 90 degrees. Yes. D major, D minor, 90 degrees. A flat major, A flat minor, 90 degrees. Yes, so you see it in degrees as well. More geometrical. Yeah. Now, table of circle of fifths for C major and A minor. One thing that he does is he introduces the concept of first circle, second circle, third circle, fourth circle, fifth circle, sixth circle, seventh circle. As you go away and away and away and away, and you expand, expand, expand from any given key. For example, it says first circle. A minor, G major, E minor, F major, D minor. From C major. Yes, so what's that? First circle. The A minor is a relative minor of C major. The G major, the next in line, circle of fifths, clockwise. E minor, it's relative minor of G major. And F major is what? Is going that way, the other way. F major, a fifth down, and the E minor is relative. So that is your first circle, as he says. Yes? So we go like this. Yes? Very quickly. Says, I start from here. The first one is this one. The second one is this one. The third one is this one. The fourth one is this one. The last one is this one. And this is my first circle. Let's do it a little better. This is my first circle. Yeah? Consequently, the second circle, if we follow that logic, second circle, D major, 2/5 away. B minor, it's relative minor, B flat major, and G minor. So, second circle, always from C. Yes. D major and B minor. Yes. And B flat major and G minor. So the circle, I mean the second circle has this angle. Yes. The first one was this one. Second one. The third one, guess what? Following the same logic. Yes. What are the chords of the third circle? What are the keys of the third circle?
A major, F sharp minor,
yes.
E flat major, C minor.
Exactly. Fourth circle, Laura. Following the same logic.
I actually had to go and answer the door, so I missed that bit.
Don't worry. So he says, he introduces the topic of that happens, it's fine. So he introduces the concept of circles. Yes, first circle, second circle. The first circle is the closest, always taken from C, no? He says, well, the first circle consists on, always from C, the closest is A, and then it's clockwise. Yes, the key that is clockwise, one up, one. When I say one up, it's one circle of, yes, 1/5 up, and it's relative minor, and then anti-clockwise, and it's relative minor. So if you have to do it in a graph, this is our first circle. Yes, the second circle comprises D major, B minor, B flat major, G minor. It opens up. The third circle, following that logic that Yorgo said, it says, well, A major, F sharp minor, E flat major, C minor, opens up. Now is 180. Yeah? Now, following that logic, which are the keys of the fourth circle?
Be E major, C sharp minor, and A flat major, F minor.
Exactly. So we open up. There you go. Yeah. Sorry, not very. And then it is, which would be the fifth. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Which are the keys contained in the?
So B major / G sharp minor, and then D flat major / B flat minor.
Exactly. And then the circle goes like that. Tiki, 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 tiki. Yes. Exactly. Now, then he says these are 6th and the 7th circle. Why? The 6th circle is F sharp major, opposite. Yes. D sharp minor, it's relative. G flat major, E flat minor. So it's basically straightforward. This. Just that. Yes. Now, 7th circle. C sharp major, A sharp minor, C flat major, A flat minor. We would say, well, but it's just the same of this, of the fifth, because B is C flat, and G is C flat, and C sharp major is D flat major. Say, well, but it's the same. Well, the same notes, yes, but the thing is, if you take it from C major, it takes to the C sharp, doing this. Yeah. It has to go all the way around, passing from the opposite. Yes. The journey, let's say. Yeah. Has sense? Yes, so enharmonic, yes, when we talk about enharmonic keys, yes, it's not the same. It's not, I mean, C flat major and B major, they're not the same because the journey, yes, is not the same. Yeah, from C, yes, from going away and away and away and away and away, yes. More or less clear? Yeah. Well, this is all the explanation, okay? It says the chords that firmly establish C major are those containing B and F. So, the fourth, the second, and the fifth, the seventh, sorry, which is F major, D minor, B diminished. Yeah. Degrees for F and the fifth, the third, and the 7th degrees for B, because all contain B. Yes, 4, 7, 4, second, and seventh contains the F, 5, 3, and 7th contains the B. Clearly, the chords containing B will not hinder our going to G major, whereas those in which F appears would not suit this purpose. If then 3 and 5 can be regarded as neutral, 2, 4, and 7, on the other hand, must be omitted. If you want to go to G, yes, G, 3, and 5 are regarded as neutral because they both contain B and they're part, yes, of the same chords of G. That's what they call neutral. Now, why does he say that 3 and 5 can be regarded as neutral if you want to go to G, but he's omitting the 7th? This one. If you want to go to G.
What does he say? We have to omit 2, 4, and 7.
Well, 2, 4, and 7th, yes, but why? I mean, it has no chords that they have B. Yes, I mean this. I'm assuming that you remember the topic of if we're in C major, yes, and we want to establish the major, yes, we have to put B and F. Why B? Because B is in, I mean, it's not, sorry, it's in F major because we have a B flat, and then an F because it's not in G major because we have F sharp. So F and B, those are the notes that we have to put to establish that we're in C. Now, when we don't want to do that, and we want to modulate, we want to get out of that key, C major, and we want to go to, for example, G major, we have to start taking that boundary, yes, using what we call neutral chords. Now, he says, well, which are the chords that they are in C major that have B? Well, 5, 3, and 7th. Yes. The ones that have F, 4, 2nd, and 7th. Yes. Now, this is further along. He says 3 and 5 can be regarded as neutral. And he's omitting 7th, which has a B. But what's the problem with the 7th?
The B.
The B is not the problem.
Yeah.
What is the, I mean, why he's discarding the 7th as neutral?
Because of the F.
There you go, because it has an F. Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, exactly. So the only two chords that can be regarded as neutral to go to G, yes, because you don't know, it can be either way, yes, C major or G major, are the third, E minor, that by the way, E minor is the third of C major, and it is, E minor is the what of G major?
6th.
Yes. And the fifth, yes, of C major. Which is the fifth of C major, Laura?
G.
Yes, and what happens in G major? Is the what?
What do you mean, what happens?
Yeah, I mean, in C major, G major is the fifth. The fifth. Now, if you want to go to G major, that chord is, which function would that be? Which degree would that be?
4. No.
G. I'm talking about G major, G major chord.
Oh. To get to C. Wait.
You're in C. You're in C major scale. Yes? Good. And then you have your G major, your fifth degree. Right? Now, G major chord, the chords are chords. I mean, now we have to see how they relate to each other, because in C major, G major is the fifth. Now, because we are getting away from the key, yeah, and we're building like a gray area, yeah. G major, which is the function, which degree would that be, that chord G major, in G major scale?
Oh, 1.
Yeah, the tonic. There you go. So we have 3 and 5, he says. If then 3 and 5 can be regarded as neutral. 3, in this case E minor, mediant of C major, or submediant, as it is said, very well, of G major, and dominant of C major, becoming the tonic of G major. Yeah, that's why the circle of it has to be very clear. Yes, because it's not just one key. Each key has 7 notes, consequently 7 chords. Yes, and then it's how we start seeing how they intertwine together. Yes. Okay, doke. So 2, 4, and 7, on the other hand, must be omitted. Why is that? 2, 4, and 7 have something in common. The 3 have the F, the famous F natural. Now, if we want to go to G major, has an F sharp, don't put those chords. Yes, because they're telling you, each one of them, because they have an F natural, we are in C major, we are not, yes, in G major. So that's why you have to be very clever, yes, in finding these neutral chords. Neutral because they're both, you know, they can go either way. Yes, they can be in one key. I mean, they're contained in one key and the other key. Yeah. And all that be presented in another way. One can say, because of the similarity of the scales, C major and G major have a number of chords in common. 4, actually. If we set down one of these chords independently, taken out of its context, yeah, then we cannot determine whether it belongs to one key or the other. It can just as well belong C major as to G major. Yes, when he says these chords over here, 3 and 5, if they take out of context, yeah. Which way it is to be reckoned depends on what goes before and what comes after. That's very important to say. A triad C, E, G can be the tonic in C major or the subdominant in G major. The succeeding chords determine whether it will be one or the other. It's all about context. Yes, that's why, please, when you are talking in music about harmony, please stop saying C major, A minor, F major. No, say tonic, subdominant. Yes, why? Because you're giving that chord its context. Yes, if I say C major, very quickly I say, okay, very good, C major, tonic of C major, mediant of A minor, dominant of F major, yeah, subtonic of D minor, natural, of course, yes, subdominant of G major, yeah, submediant of E minor. So what do you want? You say in C major, well, C major can have many things. Yes, that's why. Context. Yeah, especially when we are building these gray areas in order to go to another key. On purpose. Yeah. The succeeding chords determine whether it will be one or the other. If FAC follows, F major, then the key is, of course, not G major, because F major is not contained in G major scale, because you have F sharp. It is probably C major, but perhaps also A minor, because F major is submediant of A minor, the 6th degree. F major or D minor. Why? Because it can be the tonic of major or the median of D minor. Yes? And that is how you start having headaches. Yes? With all the possibilities. Yes? That's why we focus on one circle, the first circle. Because if you see the amount of possibilities are always 6 possibilities. Imagine if we open up the game to the 2nd circle, the 3rd circle, the 4th circle, the 5th circle, yes, and so on and so forth. But D, F sharp, and A, the 5th degree of G, follows, or F sharp, A, and C, the 7th degree, then it will be presumably G major or E minor, or at least it can be. Yes, most probably G major with those chords. So, context, first of all. Rules of modulation. These two presentations characterize the two principal means we shall use in our first modulations. The one is use of such neutral chords as will mediate between the original key and the new key. That gray area that we was referring to. And the second rule, reinterpretation of chords common to both keys. Both means usually work simultaneously. So both of the rules actually are acting at the same time, are happening at the same time. You're building a gray area in order to reinterpret those chords in retrospective when you're lining the next key. Yes, that gray area will be reinterpreted when you go to another key in retrospective. Yes, you say, so those actually, C major and E minor were the submediant and the subdominant of G major. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I get it now. But that is one of the things that either you do it as composers, yes, so you plan your route, or when you're analyzing, you're going to see, because we're going to analyze a lot of songs as well. Yes, once we have to do the modulations, we have to see 2 more topics, secondary dominance and also church modes or church chords derived from church mode, sorry. And then we're going to start proper analysis. And then when you're analyzing, you're going to see that it's all clear, okay, yeah, fine. And then, wow, instead of like a lot of dominants and subdominants, you say, oh, this is submediant, submediant and subtonic. This is weird. And then it clarifies again. Yeah, when that happens, it's because you have modulated to something, to another key. And then you have to revisit that passage again and reinterpret that passage. Yes, when you're doing an analysis. And if you're doing a composition, well, yeah, it's another thing, because when you're composing something, you have to have very clear, yes, you do kind of the same thing, but it's like being in one side of the shore of the river,